And here is the third and final part of my perfect playthrough of Street Fighter 2. We previously covered the heroes, of the main characters of the game, as well as the supporting characters. Now we take on the villains. This one started with Balrog. Now, as I said, Balrog is basically a Mike Tyson-X character. He's a boxer. So he's the only character in the game who doesn't have any kicks. Or at least not to my knowledge. Like his kicks are his punches and vice versa. Literally. However, he is one of those who has a chain jab instead of instead of a grab and throw. He has a grab and jab, so he can get some big damage against opponents here. The downside is you kind of have to take it on the slow side. Balrog, without access to most of his specials, because I don't get how some of them perform, and a lot of them have slow start and end lag, starting and end lag as well. So I literally here am just trying to look for whatever openings I can find in order to beat my opponents as quickly as possible. I mean, it's great to get your opponent in some loops and all that, but because I don't have any kicks, I can't go for any low attacks. This is gonna be a problem with the cars if I'm not careful. His strong jabs take far too many frames and they can whiff altogether, so I sell for a bunch of mid jabs. As in the B or Y buttons to destroy the car. Luckily, Dalzim here was very cooperative. By the way, this is also going to be where my perfect playthrough of Street Fighter 2 comes to an end, and is going to be where I will move on. So yeah, the boss fighters like Balrog, Vega, Sagat, and Bison were added into Champion Edition. Special Champion Edition just simply throws in Champion Edition and Hyper Fighting. Doing some weird bufferings in order to trigger a response from Ryu. Round one, fight! Absolutely took care of business against Honda. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, there's 12 fighters, which meant this was gonna be a longer playthrough than Mortal Kombat, especially since I couldn't find any OTK cheat codes for the game. I don't mean cheating devices, I mean in-game cheat codes. And technically, cheat codes are technically allowed in perfect playthroughs, but greatly discouraged. So, Blanca's super cooperative allowed me to grab him to deal half damage, and this was an easy victory here. Same old as last time. And a quick grab and jab to finish him off. All these moves definitely have names, but I think it's just easier, say, grab and jab or grab and throw and stuff like that. So it is kind of amazing that I was able to beat Guile relatively fast because Guile's a super defensive fighter. But I guess that's what happens when Balrog is also a defensive fighter. It's a matter of who's gonna make the mistake first. And by the way, I don't have very good access to kicks, so I have to be selective about when I deliver my hits on bout in a mirror match. Needless to say, I'm actually glad things actually worked out for me. Because previously, I would have been super reliant on kicks. Balrog can't really do much in the air, so I'm just keeping him grounded for these barrels. And I'm actually glad I didn't have to worry about hitting a barrel twice until the very end when I was able to knock all three of them out in one hit. So that's great. Worked out! And as per usual, I punish Vega, though getting into the corner without a grab and throw is a little tricky. So you literally have to wait until he gets close to you throughout the whole fight before you can punish him. And how do I know that these are... Okay, now we take on Sagat. It is worth noting is that these final four characters I'm gonna try to play and beat the game with are all villains. And they're not just all villains, they're all aligned. So they will all have remarkably similar endings, save for the scrolling epilogue, which I will be reading. Basically, the winner of this tournament goes on to take over the world. That's how this episode's gonna go. So try and land hits on Bison, because Bison loves to jump around in the air a lot. It's a little tricky. Because again, you don't have access to any kicks. So as per usual, I just have to wait till he gets close, and that's it for Balrog. We've mastered him. Yeah! I'm number one! Shouting in a loud voice, a victorious Balrog thrusts out his fists at the crowd. He remembers what he learned growing up in the ghetto. Sometimes only the power of a man's fist can save him on the streets of life. This belief has made him the greatest fighter in the world. Children all over the country once again may believe that the American dream is still alive. And too bad he's one of the villains. Maybe he'll put on a better fight than Jake Paul, or at least not put up a better fight in a not so rigged fight. Yeah, that was a pathetic excuse of a special. That's why I don't watch boxing. That and it's just an inherently barbaric sport. I mean, okay, sure, the fighters want to fight, good for them, but I don't care. Literally, the only boxing movie that I like is Raging Bull. Maybe the Rocky movie's on a good day, but that's just for some good old 80s cheese. So yeah, Vega is an absolute beast. He doesn't deal a ton of damage, but he is quick. He is slender, and he just has nasty chains like these. Who was Vega in Smash Ultimate? I think it was Meta Knight. It was either Sheik or Meta Knight, which makes so much sense for Vega to be one of those two. Alright, yep. Absolute menace. Fast fall speed. Just gets his attacks out super quick. And I'm just completely bullying everyone in sight. Worth noting is that Balrog, just the last note with Balrog, he is the only character in this playthrough that I never made into the leaderboards. And thus never had to type in the initials. Now, similar to Balrog, he also pretty much just has jabs for his strong attacks. All of his strong attacks are punches. Well, okay, that's not true. His, when you duck down a kick, when he's high, when he's standing up, his strong kick goes really high and will just dodge. And has a weird disjoint problem that makes it so he doesn't hit the rest of the car. But he goes low, he goes a slide kick, which has very, very low hitbox, but it also has very slow startup and quite the delay in the startup and end lags. So I went with the low strong punches instead. Otherwise, he is a Vega is an absolute monster in combat. Yes, that's in spite of the fact that Vega sorta looks like a woman and sounds like a woman during the victory parade. Vega is actually a guy. I mean, his bare chest is exposed, he's ripped, so of course it's a man. He's just a playboy. It's kind of weird that he wears a mask because he ain't ugly. But yeah. Yeah, because I don't really care much for Vega's kick, strong kick, I'm just gonna jab with the strong punches. Especially since I don't want to do a sliding kick attack at all. So I allowed myself to take a bit of chip damage by blocking a special move, which is and I completely caught Guile in that move. So it's kind of funny that I was able to so easily handle Guile the second time around by just doing the same thing over and over again. If it ain't broke and the opponent don't adjust, then you don't have to adjust either. Keep in mind that the AI is starting to play more competently this time around. I'm still absolutely demolishing everyone. It's kind of shocking that Vega isn't considered one of the best fighters in the game. Or maybe he is, I just haven't checked the Street Fighter 2 tier list. I definitely know he's not considered the best fighter in the game. I believe that's M. Bison, but I don't really know M. Bison's tech. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to mix in some jump kicks and low jabs. And I did a slime kick at the end there just to hit the last barrel a second time. Yeah, I'm glad that things worked out the way that did. In the mirror match, I absolutely have to bully the other Vega. Woohoo! Alright.
Island.
And now we take on Sagat. He's basically like a giant version of Ryu or Ken, except he's a kickboxer. And has some pretty devastating anti-aerial techniques. But we dispatch him quickly, and we have about as close to mastered Vega. And I didn't even bother using any of his special moves, apart from his slide kick and his grab and throw. I just manipulate the eyes movements so I get him to do what I want him to do. And this took a really long time to film all this too, so there you go. This world exists only for the beautiful, so naturally only a gorgeous hunk of a man like me could win. Vega stands victorious, stroking his long blonde hair and adds calmly, "The ugly deserve no mercy, so I destroyed them all." Vega gives me some gay vibes. Absolutely, he's totally gay. But yeah, that's his motivation for world domination, is to get rid of all ugly people. He would probably enjoy. He probably would have been rooting for the villains in the Garbage Pail Kids movie. But we've mastered Vega, just 2 more characters left to master, and I absolutely dominated with Vega. But we've got 2 more characters to go. Next on the docket is Sagat, and Bison's right-hand man.
Round 1, fight!
And he basically fights similar to Ryu and Ken.
You win! Perfect!
Except he's tall, except he's big and tall like Zangief. And has pretty decent, and has disjoints like Vega. And he... Actually, I think his strongest attacks are his kicks, like Chun-Li. Because he is a kickboxer after all. It's literally a kickboxing version of Ryu and Ken. So he's big and tall like Zangief. And he's got Guile's defensive kit as well. So yeah, we completely taken care of Honda and Blanca, now taking on Guile. And honestly, I think it's good that we got Guile this early, because Guile being a super defensive character means he's basically not gonna focus too much effort on his defensive kit.
Perfect.
But this is kind of the problem. With the strong kicks, the animation's super slow, though I take care of the top half. Which is what I did then.
Perfect.
I use the mid kicks to take care of the lower portions. And yeah, it did super fat. Huge difference in terms of startup and end lag. And I use the projectile mainly for the sake of spacing, and to get Ken to perform a certain action so I could close in on it, and retaliation so I could close in on it.
You win. Perfect.
China.
Round one. Fight.
Gonna take on Chun-Li.
You win. Perfect. Round two. Fight. Fighter.
And that's basically all I have to say, really. Now we take on Zangief, who's not really a bad guy, but Sagat is. I guess that's the main difference. Zangief is only doing this for the Soviet Union's fighting for the Soviet Union's sake. Probably the Soviet Union. Sagat, Balrog, Vega, and Sagat are all enforcers of Bison, who wants to take over the world. Now, the strong kicks here can still hit the lower end, and even though the animations are long, it has such massive hitboxes that it hits everything below and across. Allowing you to destroy the bricks super quickly.
You win. Perfect.
I have to basically get... with Dalsim, if you try approaching, he'll just try teleporting away, so that's why I went back to trap him in the other side of the screen and shoot projectiles until he either comes to me or stops hopping around like a lunatic.
Round one. Fight.
Now with Ryu, the last of the good guys,
Perfect.
before we take on the bad guys. And yeah, this was a pretty straightforward match with Ryu. And now we take on the first of the enforcers, Balrog, who we have beaten the game with earlier today.
You win. Perfect.
Absolute cakewalk. An even bigger cakewalk than last time, and I got him on a cycle last time. On a looping cycle. Now this is probably the first and pretty much the only time I didn't have to worry about hitting the barrels a second time. Which I didn't think was possible. But, the more you know, I guess. Now we take on Vega, Sagat in a mirror match, and then finally end Bison for our own aspirations of world conquest.
You win. Perfect. Round 2, fight.
And as per usual, my aim was simply to catch Vega in a loop and then quarter him. So I could just bully him till he dies. And with Sagat, because Sagat kind of has a similar defensive kit to Guile while still playing remarkably like Ryu and Ken, as a kickboxer, kind of has elements of each of the 4 main characters, to be honest.
Round 2, fight.
I basically have to wait till Sagat responds before I make a move on him.
You win. Perfect.
And that's how I take care of the other Sagat in a mirror match.
Round 1, fight.
And, this is honestly a fairly easy mirror match for Sagat. I think this is the most dominant I've ever been. Like, he's now the new high score, and is very likely to remain the high score by the end of this playthrough because Bison has some issues. Some difficulties in the absence of special moves, and we'll get to when we get to them. The new King of Street Fighters looks around for the wandering warrior, who is stronger than himself. He thinks, come back, Ryu. Get tougher and learn what it is to be a loser. Today, my great scar shows I have learned and overcome. Until then, I'll be waiting. The title of the world's greatest fighter means nothing to him. It is the power of the fight and defeating a worthy opponent that he lives for. Maybe he was born to be a fighter. Yeah, so basically Sagat is technically Ryu's arch nemesis. While then Bison is the universal evil of the Street Fighter franchise. It is the big bad of Street Fighter. Sagat is Ryu's arch enemy. Ryu and Ken are arch rivals. But that's it. That's 11 characters mastered. Just one more to go, and we will have officially accomplished everything the game has to offer. We no longer have to skip the end credits now. I'll be able to show them all in all its glory. No, this isn't the original costume. I think that's fine for the eventual final boss battle to default all red look.
You win. Perfect.
Now, so far, Bison's not gonna have that big a problem.
You win. Perfect.
But, Bison is really held back by the sheer lack of techniques, and he has a pretty terrible grab. He also has a pretty terrible grab and throw. Like, I was not able to consistently get grabs with Bison to save my life. When I do grab him, very often the opponent will just break free from my grab almost immediately. So, that is definitely Bison's weakest strength, is that he does have a strong grip.
Round 1, fight.
Because of this, I am very much gonna be reliant on... I'll still do grab and throws from time to time because they're still pretty powerful. But I'm super reliant on his strong kicks and strong punches. And some of them don't have the best disjoints. So I have to duck down in order to hit the lower power because I'm completely whiffed the car and I can't destroy the car fast enough if I don't do this.
prevail. Round one, fight.
So yeah. And yeah, sometimes I just jump straight up without doing anything in order to buff for the opponent's next action.
Round two, fight. You win. Perfect.
I mean, that happens sometimes, where I will just jump straight up, so I could get the opponent to do something, and if I don't do anything, I do it again, and or trigger a reaction from them.
You win. Perfect.
And this results in me bowling the competition rather easily.
You win. Perfect.
Ugh.
USA.
So I'm tired.
Round one, fight.
I've been working on this game for a long time, and I want to take a bit of a break before I move on to the 12th game of Christmas.
You win. Round two,
Because,
fight.
as well as number one act, just a small little break. Remember, I posted these videos
Win. Perfect.
more than a month in advance, and this took me almost all of November to finish. Most of November to finish. Now these kicks are not, the strong kicks are sufficient enough because of the disjoint hitbox, and that every part of Bison's leg hits the brick for damage.
China.
Yep, we're heading down to China.
Round one, fight. You win. Perfect.
And oh yeah, another reason why I jump straight up is to try and buff for a grab and throw. Because sometimes Bison's grab is weak, he sometimes won't be able to grab the opponent before they grab him.
USSR. Round one, fight.
So yeah, it's all pretty useful here.
Round two, fight. You win. Perfect.
I wonder how much better I would be with Ryu and Ken with everything I do.
USA.
Or even Honda and
Round
Chun-Li.
one, fight.
I definitely think Balrog was my weakest fighter.
You win. Perfect.
That goes without saying, but
Round two, fight.
I would seriously like to know how much better I would be with the main characters if I were to play this game
You
again,
win. Perfect.
but for reals. And with the speed toned down tremendously. Maybe someday I'll play this game casually and find out. But this took me a while to finish up. It literally took me till the moment where I suddenly found myself one-shotting all the barrels before I finally was able to do it in Bison. And Bison has basically no follow-through if he fails to break a barrel. You're basically fucked if you fail to break a barrel. So, I'm at least glad I got perfect in every bonus round with every character.
You win. Perfect.
And now we take on Sagat.
Thailand.
Final 2 battles will be in Thailand.
Round one, fight. Fight, 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 fight. You win. Perfect.
And yep.
Two, fight. Fight.
final battle, Bison versus Bison. Who will be the one to take over the world?
You win. Perfect.
And yep. Just completely demolishing them.
You win. Perfect.
And it wasn't a new high score, but it was second place. Standing with his cape flowing behind him, the King of Destruction watches as his armies rise up to take over the world. Of course! Under the rule of his merciless fist, whole countries will be brought under his evil organization's control, bringing death and destruction to anyone who dares oppose him. Bison laughs and says, "Thanks to you, the world is mine!" And that's literally it for Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. We have officially achieved a perfect playthrough with complete mastery of all 12 fighters. We have accomplished everything the game has to offer, and I can finally say the 11th game of Christmas is finally behind me. Time to cue the end credits at long last, as well as the end credit music. This is what you would see typically if you were to beat the game with any of the other characters. I just edited them all out because this was back when I planned for this playthrough to be one video. A 2 hour long video for something that took me weeks to finish, like a better part of 3 weeks to finish, would have been insane. So I'm gonna go ahead and split this 2 hour video up into 3 parts. Or at least that's what I ultimately decided to do. So yeah, I actually am at least glad I was able to make use of some of the special moves from time to time, but just not all of them. I like that they all take turns celebrating their destruction of the crates and barrels. Honestly, I think it's more than fitting that I saved this end credits till the very end when I found true mastery of all 12 fighters. And honestly, I think this game is definitely the best fighting game I've covered here, I've ever covered on the Sega Genesis. That does not just include perfect playthroughs, but also Summer of Sega. So throw in Virtua Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat, and Double Dragon 5 all in the ring. Are there better fighting games? Maybe. But I would definitely consider coming back to this game, playing it for just casually sometime. I mean, the best part is I don't have to worry about any unlockable content. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my 11th game of Christmas here. I hope you enjoyed my 98th perfect playthrough. We just got one more game of Christmas left to go over before we can begin our 100th perfect playthrough. The countdown to 100 is coming to a close, so tune in to see what I have next time for number 99. Leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate it. With all out of the way, this is Mike Gorn, sign out.